Our script for connecting with teenagers is, hey, how was school? And the kid's like, oh, here's what happened. And then this happened. And then this dilemma. What advice do you have for me? And we say, oh, many wise things, because I'm 53 and I can share my wisdom with you and keep you from making the same mistakes. And our teenager goes, oh my gosh, that was so helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, that's our script.
Yeah.
That's not most teenagers' scripts. I don't even know if it's any teenager's script.
No young grasshoppers out there, huh?
Exactly. Here's the teenager's script for connection. I come home. I've had a very long, tiring day. I am down. You say, are you okay? And I say, And you say, you want some tea? Want to go watch a show together? Or I'm going to be going and doing my work in the dining room. I got a bunch of dumb emails to write. Do you want to sit next to me while I do those? You do your homework. Present, available, and agendaless. That's their idea of connection with adults.
It sounds like there's also like some connection adjacent happening in what you're describing. Like you're not demanding a conversation, you're more being in the sidecar. Yeah.
I'm here. And
I like that.
Comfort. And I think that it's so rare that teenagers get to be with adults who don't have an agenda. They are so grateful for the agenda. I wrote a piece ages ago for the New York Times called What Do Teenagers Want? Potted Plant Parents. Present, available, no big agenda, right? They want us around, but they don't always want us asking so many questions. Okay, so that's one. Another thing I think that can help us stay in connection with teenagers is doing, and I think this is probably the hardest thing in all of parenting teenagers, not holding grudges. Okay, so here's what this looks like in my house. I bet it looks like this in many houses. It's a busy morning. Your kid is in a rush or cranky, or you're cranky or whatever. You ask them a fair question. You get a sharp, not totally over the line, but like kind of answer. They're rude. They hurt your feelings. They're out the door. You may nurse that injury all day. I promise you, by the end of the day, the kid either doesn't remember or doesn't want to go back there or is a million miles past that. And if they walk in the door and you are still hung up on what happened at 7:45 and you are cold or you are salty on the back of that, you're going to miss out on a kid who may be in a perfectly good mood and want to connect. So I would say the number one thing that I find so hard, but I find so important is like, just letting it go, like letting it be a moment and knowing that teenagers are up and down all day and greeting them. I've been thinking about this. You know how I don't have a dog right now, but we have had a dog. You know how the dog doesn't remember how you left? Like the dog's just excited. I think kind of that, right? Not like being a bit of a goldfish about it. Like 3 seconds, we're on to the new thing. I think that helps with connection because teenagers can sense when we're not okay with them. And if they're like, are you serious? Like from this morning, like 400 things have happened since then. Like, are we really going to get stuck there? So that's 2. I think 3, I think we miss conversational bids from teenagers because they're not coming when we think we want to have conversations. So over dinner, we're like, what happened? And they're like, at school today, they're like, nothing. And you're like,
right,
really?
Then at 11 o'clock when you're getting in bed and ready to read your book or go to bed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There they are.
Yeah.
And I think, and I unpack that late night thing in my book. And I think a lot of it is, it's a beautiful moment where they want both autonomy and connection simultaneously. So they want to connect, but they want to control how. So if they wait till we're in bed, they decide if we're talking, they decide how long we're talking, and they decide what we're talking about. Because, and I love this, teenagers have said to me, at night, my parents, they don't ask so many questions and they don't bring up new topics, right? So being available when they want to talk, right? And even if it means we lose a little sleep, they're not in the house that long, right? It's worth it. Okay. I think that's 3. Have I done 3? Okay.
You got 3.
Okay.
Amazing.
Let me see if I can. I think this is adjacent to the one I just said. Also being interested in what they're interested in. So talking when they want to talk, but listening for what they bring up, and I will say this. Often when teenagers want to talk about delicate or spicy topics, they'll bring it up in a kind of casual way related to somebody else. Like, there's a ton of weed at this party, they'll say. And there's a lot happening in that moment. And it's very easy as a parent to blow it and be like, what? Wait, you can't go over there. Or where were the adults or whatever? And that kind of usually kills the conversation. Mm-hmm. And so I think instead saying like, oh, well, what do you think about that? Like, anytime a kid brings up spicy behavior, even if they bring it up really neutrally, they're bringing it up for a reason. And they're usually bringing it up because they're not so sure it's okay. And so if the adult says, oh, like, what do you think about that? Usually the teenager is like, it wasn't okay. And then you can have a conversation. So I think that piece, that sometimes the provocative stuff, it can very easily break into a very like painful conversation or actually a very fruitful conversation.